table for item 8, the capital delivery major facilities elected member updates. Any introductory remarks on this report?
I might just, because these become quite old in the process, so
Yep.
I just might just go through them quickly just to give people a heads up. So the square and the surrounds, phase 3A and 3B are the old post, just in front of the old post office building. So the old post office building is due to be complete by Armitage Williams very shortly. So we've actually geared for our hard landscaping to occur to meet their programme needs Q1 2022. So early next year, you'll see fences come down, hard landscaping go in, and it'll start to pep up that area of the square. Just a quick update on the MB requirements for the MIQ facility. We are following that up at the moment. We've got two people from within council, John Meeker and Andrew Wheely, who are working hard to find an alternate place. We are hitting brick walls everywhere, to be quite honest, because not everyone, it's a bit of the NIMBY, not in my backyard syndrome. So we're trying our best to facilitate a space where they can exercise. But it's a close partnership with MB at the end of the day, and we'll maintain that relationship. Performing Arts Precinct, just to confirm, ProTrans will have finished their sheet trenching works this week, which is in preparation for ground remediation and digging to the water table. That work is in place. It's ready now in a state of readiness for the new year. And obviously, if we can keep the water table as low as possible, we're working on the basis that we can excavate and then start layering in the backfill material that needs to go in. Just the contractors, we continue to work with the contractors that have created an expression of interest for the main construction. The Wilson's car parking building, the public consultation closed on the 13th, so we'll start to work through the process to evaluate that, and we're coming back to council in February next year. And the expression of interest is still being under evaluation for the use of 128 Armagh Street. Old Municipal Chambers is going great guns, I'll be honest. It's probably one of for one of the most broken projects, it's one of the best projects. The team there are doing an amazing job in a very, very tight, confined area. If we get the opportunity, I think you need to go and see it and experience it. It's one of those. It's a really important piece of our heritage, and it's a great project, and it's a great team of people doing the work. So there's a lot of activity going on at that building at the moment. We've even looked at a minor variation, which is to replace the lift in totality. There was an allocation in the budget to repair the lift, but to be quite honest, it's such a small sum of money between new and old, and considering it's got a 50-year life when you put a new lift in, it's probably worth us doing that. So we're just reviewing that at the moment to instruct that. Hornby, we had some great excitement around the piling arriving, but then the piles wouldn't actually go in the ground. We weren't achieving friction rates that we required on the pile, so we've had to do a bit of a redesign, but that's not held up the project. It's just meant that the design team have worked faster and quicker and more efficiently to get an outcome that meets the needs of the in-ground structural work. And Parakiori continues to work at a pace. There's 20 plus work streams at the moment on that site, which is huge. They're maxing at 400 plus people on site daily. They are, and as always been, have program impacts, but we can't really talk about them as they're a commercial issue. And I do know that Takara are working really hard to deliver an outcome that satisfies the needs of council and CPB. So that's me. Sorry.
Great. Thank you very much. So moving to questions, Melanie.
For the Hornby Leisure Centre, mentions in the report here about the hydrotherapy pool in a report in December. I was just wondering if there's any updates on where that's at.
No, I believe. Sorry, I am not up to speed on the hydrotherapy pool. I believe Nigel Cox is bringing a paper to council regarding the hydrotherapy pool at some point. So, yep, it will be at this rate. Yeah, without doubt.
Thank you, Phil, and then Jimmy.
Thanks, Alistair. Just give me a wee little bit more info on the piling at the pool. Are you not getting a set, or is it not going in?
We're using friction piles.
Yes.
Yeah, and we weren't getting the right amount of friction applied to the piles through the way we were driving them. So we've changed the methodology, and it's a base plate and concrete wrap that's gone on technically, but it's a base plate and the concrete wrap. We were using welding them, but we've decided to concrete wrap them, and we're achieving the we're achieving the friction rates that we require now.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jimmy.
Thank you, Chair. This is a general question, here regarding to this major facility. Because at the moment, COVID-19 pandemic, so all those global city supply chain cost and election will all affect those the progress of the program and also those the costs. I'm not sure with how to take a positive way to mitigate all those effects.
Look, it's obviously COVID's been around for a wee while now, so a lot of the delivery methodologies that we've put in place are around early procurement of product that we require externally to this country. So we've gone outwards to find that information out, understand the impacts, bring and purchase or declare with steel in particular, it's indenting steel, which is getting it in the line, if you will. We've gone out and purchased early in order to mitigate that issue. If we can find an alternate product and we'll find that in this country, then people have been looking hard and fast around what we can bring into the country or buy within the country, sorry. So there are mitigations in place. There are always going to be delays at the moment, and there's always delays in program anyway. But for me in particular, there is, I believe our team have got, it's probably the highest on our risk registers on mitigations. It's not just mitigations around the supply chain, and it's the material supply chain. It's actually the resource supply chain, which comes from human beings that we require. You can still get material into this country, but you can't actually get the people that you require to sign off on the installation. That's the issue we face, and that's something we deal with through MB.
Yeah, because I'm particularly concerned all those major facilities, particularly affected by the kind of supply chain, particularly delivery from overseas those materials.
Yeah, but I think we've got mitigations in place, and we're alerting through our project control mechanisms. We're alerting council to those issues through the PMO and through the reporting we do at the watch list as well. So,
Thank you, Chair.
That's great. Thank you, Anne, and then Aaron.
Alistair, thank you once again. You're over an awful lot of work there, so it's really impressive. Thank you. But I'm just wondering, the MIQ situation, what impact is that having on the work that you want to have happening in the square?
We're in delay from a delivery perspective, but for us as a team, it's probably not come at a bad time because we wanted to go back and reflect upon the whole square and the whole delivery. So with Te Pae Convention Centre coming to light, we did a little bit of early work in that area to mitigate a concern of passage of people, trafficking people through the area. So we've done that work. We've coordinated better probably with the cathedral now than we were before, and certainly with the private sector developments. We're working hard to work with those as well. So what we've done is we've gone back and created an overall design. I think Caroline Ingalls presented something on the 2nd of December, or it might have been 2nd of November, which was an outline plan. Well, we're working towards that plan now, and we expect to bring that back. But what we can do in the meantime is we can maintain the square itself. So we've got maintenance contractors out there doing repairs to pavers where necessary. We've been uplifting pavers across the areas within the cathedral, and we've been storing them out of our Pages Road depot. So we are replacing with what we pulled up. So we're not. From a sustainability perspective, we're using what we've pulled up. So we're cleaning that and taking it away and bringing it back. So the work that we can do is aligned with the private developer sector. So MIQ is in delay. There's no point in denying that. It's got us in delay, but we're also trying to work with the Distinction Hotel and other property owners to see what we can do about getting an exercise yard nearer or away from. So it's just what it is. Yeah.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, Alistair, just a couple of questions. Firstly, around the Hornby Centre, because it was raised at the Disability Working Group, which you were there. So, is there a chance of having a changing places in there? And also, there were some questions raised around the accessibility toilets, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I asked the question around the changing places at Hornby, and we do have a hybrid facility that's been designed, if you will, and I could probably bring that information back through to council as a post meeting note, because I know that we do have it's not a change in places, it's a hybrid that they've thought about, but they've tried to meet the needs of everybody that was engaged with at the time. So It's not a bespoke changing places facility. It's a hybrid.
Right. So, because changing places themselves have raised the reasons why they do it that way, and they use the key system and so on and so forth. I think as a council, we possibly need to form a policy on which road we go down. So we either say to them, no, we don't. It's not going to be in Christchurch, or yes, it is, and we'll do it as best we can. How would we go about that?
Well, I suppose it's RSC direct traffic with regards to facilities within their venues, if you will. So we would we believe we're meeting the needs of everybody by designing a hybrid facility, not just one part of society, if you will. So it's I suppose it's more a conversation that I need to have with Nigel about the approach going forward, and then how do we best present that approach. So because obviously changing places is a brand,
Yeah.
and it's a model that you have to procure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody who uses it has to procure an access tag to go in there.
Yes.
And I suppose that would eliminate a lot of our society that couldn't afford to do that. So
Yeah, because you still have a disability toilet or shower or whatever at a facility, but it's a different thing. But in Canterbury, it equates to about 2,300 or 2,600 people would be the people that need to use a specific facility like that, and it's not really for anyone else.
no, appreciate that. But again, it's we're directed by process. So the answer is I need to go back and talk to Nigel about our overall approach across all of our facilities, and then raise that through ELT.
Yeah, and then maybe bring something back to council so we
Yep.
can kind of make a decision. So going forward, we stop asking the question because we know
That
where
sounds
we're going.
good, so that we've got all the information in front
Yeah.
of us at that time
Yeah.
once ELT have considered it. No, that sounds good. Thanks
And
for raising it.
And then just one more.
Yeah, sure.
And the other one is around Parakiori, and that is the hydroslide.
Yes.
Is it going to be accessible or not?
No.
I mean, it's not.
No.
Why
I think
not?
if you remember last time when I was here last, I think Nigel was just about to push the button on the release of the memo that was coming to councillors. I'd have to check with Nigel to see what that is, but it's more to do with redesign and cost right now.
But there's a memo that
Yep,
was ready to go to us that
as the
presumably still is ready.
Yeah, with regards to the process that the design team went through at the time about accessibility for hydroslides.
So if we can get that information circulated, that would be good, because the exact same issue was raised at the last meeting.
It was,
Yeah, well, you could. So here's kind of my beef, Alistair. I've been asking this for like a year, and it's you get to the point where it's really too late. But I mean, I don't know if the rest of the council are happy, but I won't be going to the opening because I can't look at disabled people in the eye and say you're not welcome at the funnest part of this facility.
Okay, let's get the information back. I mean, we've had the answer to the basic question.
Yep.
Let's get the information back that gives us the background to it. And if there's anything that needs to be picked up from there, then obviously we can do that at that time.
I can do
Yeah, well, just not very happy about
Yeah,
it.
I
That's
mean,
all I'm trying to
I
signal.
already noted exactly the same matter was raised at the last meeting. We were told then that a memo was ready to come out. That's the memo that we now and still need to see.
Yeah, and I do question if anyone else here is comfortable with that as well.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chair,
let's
could
get the information in the memo, and that'll give the background to the answer that we've just had.
could we also see in that memo perhaps a list of the accommodations that have been included in the design
Yep.
for the disability sector? Because I think that would be really interesting to see.
And if we can get that information sooner rather than later, that would be good.
Yeah, we can show them the few bits they can have.
All right, let's get the memo and go from there. All right, so I've got Yanni and then Leanne and then back to Jimmy. Yanni.
Yeah, thank you. Just in regards to the square, just two questions. One is there was comment made to having a sort of overview plan. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where it is. There was.
There's a master plan that's been
Yeah, the
developed,
master
yeah.
plan. Is it being updated? Like, are we going to get a coherent plan for the square
Yes,
that
yeah.
we see? There was somewhere in here where it made reference to.
Yeah, so there was I have found the wording in the actual elected member update, and it was just there was a presentation on the 2nd of November which allowed us to, which is the initial draft, and we're now in further development at the moment. So the TSD team are actually developing that master plan right now, which we will be due to bring back to council for review, just to see what we're actually thinking about.
Yeah, so the initial draft's been developed. So, but the work, like the Tapaya work's happening already because
Yeah.
it's temporary.
Which is more about accessibility across from their entrance to our entrance into the square.
Yeah, okay. So what's the time frame for that? Like it says there's delays to the landscape of the square have occurred. It was decided by PSG that there was an opportunity to review the square as a total concept, which is fantastic. That's great. So what's the time frame for it coming
Yeah,
back to
I'll
us?
have to come back and give you an indication of that, if that's okay.
Okay, cool. And then just the Citizens War Memorial, how's that looking to open?
Well, I'm not actually managing that, so
okay.
but I know that they're if they're 90%, it says in here 90% deconstructed, so I'd say they're probably 100% by now, because this is dated the 18th of November. So it's a slow process, to be quite honest. But I think I could probably give you an update. Can I just give you an update? I'll get
Isn't
an
the
update.
question whether it'll be Anzac Day next year?
Yep. So I'll give you an update from the
Yeah.
program. I'll get an update for you.
that would be really cool. Thank you.
So I went to the site blessing, so the police kiosk is gone. And what we blessed was a hole in the ground where the Citizens War Memorial is going to be reconstructed. And that work was ongoing and imminent. So
And is the police kiosk still in one piece, or has it just been completely
Oh
demolished?
no, it's demolished completely.
So we didn't save any.
Oh, yeah.
Told us the time we can do.
all right, thank you. So Leanne and then Jimmy. Leanne.
Just following up
Mike
on,
agreed with me for once.
Aaron's comment, so it's really directed to you, Chair, rather than a memo. I'm just wondering whether that could be part of the next report, because the one thing that sort of slightly concerns me is that in this particular part of the construction phase, we have the government project management company doing the build on behalf of the city, but we are the client, and this is where we get into difficulties where the client and the project management are two different entities, which is why it was absolutely the right decision to pull the CMUA into the council construct in the way that we have. But when you separate the project management from the client, and they're not coming back to the client for decisions on major issues, then we can't say that we were given the opportunity to make a decision whether to invest additional money into the build for the purposes of creating a unique experience it would be in the country for people with disabilities. So I really would like it to come back here, and if it's too late for us to actually have that conversation, then I would be disappointed. Looking at the construction, and I'm no expert, I'm just wondering if it is entirely too late to have a conversation. It would be at our cost, because it isn't something that was included in the build requirements, and we were capped out at a particular level. So. But could we have the report back to the
next committee meeting
rather than just as a memo?
Is that
I mean, I'm
workable?
not saying no to the memo. I'm just saying, and then a more
Yeah.
full report.
So if we
back
get
here.
the memo out, that gives us the information that we were expecting after the last meeting pretty much straight away, I would hope. But then if the report to the next committee can include that information
Yep.
to the next meeting of this committee.
We also get advice on the parents' room, which I've raised with the family room.
So what's the question about the family
So,
room?
like, initially, we were designing this, we were going to have an early learning centre there for people, to.
So
for
what's the
families.
question?
That
Jan?
The
is
question,
Question.
that obviously that's not happening. The question is,
sorry, that wasn't included as part of the design.
no,
So what's the-
initially it
what's
was.
the
No,
question?
it wasn't included when we finally agreed what was going to be
Sorry,
built.
and the initial whatever, it was raised as an idea, but it didn't go through. But just the idea, the question really was, is there going to be any family room in this new building, like we've got at the art gallery? And I'd invite everyone to go and look at what they've got.
So the
people with
question
young
is
children,
there going to be a family room in
babies,
this building?
where people can, obviously feed or change.
I think the content of the paper needs to be around what is the facility actually offering, and across everybody's requirements. To be quite honest, it
So
needs
if we can pick
needs
that
to confirm
question up as well.
Yeah, well, it needs to confirm what are the facilities. What is the facility actually offering?
Yeah, because there are questions that have come up in the last 5 minutes that come up regularly, and it would be good if when you bring the paper back, that can answer the questions for once and for all, but also give us the opportunity for discussion about what opportunities there might still be. Okay, thank you. Right, so going back to my order of questions, Jimmy, back to you.
Yeah. I still would like to echo the Aaron and the Melanie one, because this hydrotherapy, we are all aware that's through the fundraising, and also have a council the contingency fee, and also some of the social funders, grant funding, and also the community together. But last time the officer particularly mentioned us, they will present us on the 9th of December last week, the last council meeting, but didn't. But today we still didn't see this one. So fit in those the main the kind of home-based center. The timing is important. The other one we can aware, like Aaron particularly concerned.
So what's the question, Jimmy?
My question is, what's the rationale not presented to the council meeting on 9th of December, even not presented to this meeting? If the next meeting, probably next year, I'm just consider further delay regarding to this.
So is it intended to bring that information, and when will it be coming?
Yeah, just so we're clear, we're working closely to manage a budget that's extremely tight, and we want to get the best we can for the project. And it's noted that the hydrotherapy is an opportunity that has been hard driven by the RSE team, and particularly Nigel.
Yes.
And we are working closely at the moment regarding program about what would be the impact upon the program.
Yes.
And at the minute, the timing of this paper is not impacting the program. Mm-hmm. It's all about delivery. So for us, it's about transitioning to the design team as well. We have further design that's required, but through good planning in the first place, we did allocate some intent towards what would we need to do with regards to a hydrotherapy pool coming in, and what would be the changes that we'd have to make. So there is some design redundancy in there already that allows us to move quite quickly on that piece. And it's also was part and parcel of the procurement process when we allocated Naylor Love to the project. They were aware that a hydrotherapy pool may hit them and what would be the impact upon the program, and it was reviewed during the evaluation process as well. So we've tried everything we can from a planning perspective to ensure that it's not going to hold up things. And Nigel is the owner of that particular concern at the moment. So he's working with our team quite closely to understand any impacts in order to inform the paper he's bringing to council.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trying to reassure you, Jimmy. So.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you. Now, a couple of questions from me, if I can, as well, please. So, Performing Arts Precinct, public consultation on the land sale for the car park closed on the 13th of December. Do you know how many submissions there were on that?
There was an awful lot from what I can remember. Yeah, the last time I heard it was around 600 plus. But it's that.
Wow, high level of engagement. All right, so that's coming to council in February.
Yep.
And then the request for EOI on 128 Armagh, 4 respondents there. What's the next stage with that?
So it's the evaluation process they're going through at the moment will be then a recommendation to proceed with investigating one of the parties that's currently submitted. I think out of the 4 parties, 3 of them are in alignment with the Performing Arts Precinct philosophy, so therefore they fit the bill. So it's about just our team going through that process and then bringing the paper back to council. So again, if for me to close out this report at the year end with a post meeting, no, it might be the actions that there's a paper coming to council on this part of the Hornby Centre, and I might just close out all of the actions that I've got from this.
Yep.
Back to councillors so to tell you when the papers are coming into council.
That would be good. Yeah, because I mean that was my next question. When are you expecting to report, or when will the council decision on the EOIs be?
I think I'll come back with a precise list, and then it's done.
Yeah, and then coming back to Parakiori, when we get the update on the matters that have been raised, on the design matters that have been raised, and the inclusions or not, to the next meeting, it would be good to get Otakaro to come along and speak to that, given that they're the ones that are developing the facility.
Okay.
All right. So that's all of the questions. Aaron, further question.
I'm just wondering if in what we move we could have an addition that because I slightly disagree with the mayor around any government funding towards that hydroslide. I just think I'd like the mayor to write to Minister Cepoloni just to bring her into the conversation in case there is an option that she, now that they have the Ministry for Disability, she may have access to a fund that could help with making it more accessible. It wouldn't hurt to ask and open up that conversation that she make her aware of it, because if it certainly went in, it'd be great to have that minister at the opening of the facility.
How many letters are we going to write?
There's no shortage of paper at the moment, Jake.
But there is a postage.
We've got the report coming to the next meeting. I mean, would it not be better if that was, once we've got the information in front of us as to what's intended, once we've had the opportunity to question Otakaro, that may well be an outcome from that conversation when we know exactly what we're dealing with? Leanne?
I just kind of almost want to back up what Aaron said, in the sense that all I was saying was that there wouldn't be an expectation that Otakaro would meet the cost because it was an agreed design. But if there are alternative sources of funding, then that we could seek that. But the first thing that we need to know is what's possible.
Yep.
So if the next report tells us what's possible, and then then we can do that. But I'm very much in favour of looking for an alternative source. But I'm just saying that it wouldn't be right to put it on Otakaro at this late stage.
Yep, but I imagine, I mean, good suggestion, but the right time for it will be when we've got the information back from Otakaro in the report. Yep. All right, great. Yanni?
Could also write to the Minister of Children and Families. Can I just check, Parikore, so it's Q 2023, is that the opening date? Or what's the current opening date?
Q1 2023 is the date they've given us.
So Q1 2023.
Yeah.
And level of confidence in that date?
Yeah, it'll be a good discussion.
Well, you shouldn't be asking me that question. I can't give you the answer. I'm not controlling the project. That's what's reported to us by Otakaro. So we report to you what we're reporting.
So that's
So
the
if we
latest.
get it,
So that's a question, you
That's the
could
latest from the
store up
PSG.
for when Otakaro are
so
in
if
the room.
we get Otakaro to the next meeting, that'll be the opportunity for them to answer those
But what
kind of
if-
questions front on. And if we know they're coming, it might be good to signal those questions in advance of the meeting.
What we've previously been told is because of legal
Okay,
action, we can't, so
So these
that's
are
right.
all questions for Otakaro, and we'll create an opportunity for that at the next
But
meeting.
I was just trying to understand, when was this date, when was the advice that led to this date given?
That was the 18th of November.
18th of November, right, okay.
That's when it,
All right. So Sam will move, Pauline will second. Is there any debate? So, Alistair, just before I put the motion, thanks very much indeed to you and the team for the work that you're doing. Congratulations to you personally on securing your new role as well.
thank you.
That's excellent news. And in particular, noting the work you're doing around the supply chain risks and the cost escalations and the early procurement work and so on. I mean, this is, giving us, I think it's fair to say, a high level of confidence through these reports and through the other capital delivery reports that we get, and in fact now some information coming to the Audit and Risk Committee as well around how we're dealing with this work. So thanks very much to you and the team for the work that you're doing. And obviously all the best for a well-earned break. And we'll look forward to receiving further reports in the new year.
Likewise, and thanks for your support.
Thank you. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? That's carried. Thank you.